As Vice President Kamala Harris would say, can we be unburdened by what has been? It's just Donald Trump's lawsuits and convictions over and over and over. All of his legal troubles are just enough. This person should not be anywhere near the White House. He should not be near any position of leadership. We're reminded about that once again. He just filed his appeal of the New York Attorney General's civil fraud judgment against him, where he owes like $500 million, where you factor in pre and post judgment interest for running a fraudulent enterprise over and over again with his various buildings, where he inflated the size and inflated the valuations. And he would tell the appraisers one thing, he would tell the lenders another, he would tell the insurance company another thing. And all of his statement of financial conditions had lie after lie in them. There was a 44-day trial. He lost, and now he's appealing. It's just embarrassing. I mean, look, this was the message that his lawyer texted to all of the press when they just filed the appeal with the appellate division. It's just like, enough of this guy. Trump's lawyer, Christopher Kise, wrote the following. President Trump, he's former President Trump, I call him convicted felon Trump, is a visionary and iconic real estate titan who has been baselessly pursued and persecuted by the New York Attorney General's unprecedented abuse of power. It's just enough being a whiny victim. During 44 days of trial, not one witness, not one complaint, and not one victim supported Letitia James' manufactured claims of fraud. Actually, pause there. There were dozens and dozens of witnesses. The final opinion by Justice Engoron was like 100 pages of detailed descriptions of everything the witnesses said. And that showed the fraudulent scheme over and over again. But that's not what Donald Trump's lawyer is arguing in this appeal. To the contrary, the evidence established Trump's net worth far exceeded what was reported in his financial statements, and the sophisticated bankers involved pursued and enjoyed a long and satisfactory business relationship with him as a prize client. Actually, to the contrary, the witnesses testified to the opposite. And then you even had insiders who worked at the Trump organization that talked about the fraud and the lies, and they pointed to the various financial documents that showed where the lies were. This goes on to say, the appeal seeks reversal of the trial court's legally bereft decisions which ignored undisputed facts, refused to follow the binding mandate of the appellate division, imposed draconian, unlawful, and unconstitutional penalties, and willingly allowed a reckless, politically motivated attorney general to meddle in lawful, private, and mutually profitable transactions. This abject disregard for established precedent, the Constitution, and the sanctity of the complex commercial marketplace places the New York legal system and business community at extreme risk. Indeed, such an outrageous miscarriage of justice is profoundly un-American. It's a complete reversal is the only means available to restore public confidence in the integrity of the New York judicial system. Trump, therefore, today asks the appellate division to rescue the rule of law and to correct the innumerable and catastrophic errors made by the trial court untethered to the law or to commercial reality. Newsflash, let me give you the commercial reality. Don't commit fraud over and over again. The behavior is, no matter how many times you say it, it's not normal.
Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and gives you tailored advice to improve your nutrition, workouts, sleep, and even stress management. All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. Then, Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so you know exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your health game. because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does. Optimal metabolic health translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep, etc. It can also track your cycle and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism healthy through hormonal shifts so you can keep up your energy and stave off cravings. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/legalaf to get 15% off your Lumen. That's LUMEN.me/legalaf for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode.
Look, at the end of the day, the valuation of Mar-a-Lago was not done by Justice Engoron. It was done by Donald Trump. Trump certified in statements that the value of Mar-a-Lago was under $27 million, so he could pay less property taxes. He then told lenders it was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Then out in the hallway with the accordion hands, he said it was worth about $1.8 billion or $2 billion. He just makes up numbers. Doesn't work that way. Look, if he wants to pay the property taxes on a $1.8 billion property, that's probably a high 8 to 9 figure property tax, then just pay it and stop whining. But that's not what you did. You wanted the lower taxes. You wanted better lending terms. You wanted better insurance terms. So you would just lie. You'd lie about the size of your penthouse in New York. You'd lie about the occupancy in the buildings. You would say things weren't rent controlled that were rent controlled. You would say that there was additional property when there wasn't. All of the things were just objective lies that you would tell to inflate the valuation of the property. And witness after witness testified to that. And so, as I said at the outset of this video, can we be unburdened by what has been? And this is just a has-been. Trump whining, oh, I'm the victim, the law's going after me. I mean, just take a look. We could show you the full motion that he filed right here, just so you can see it for yourself. Here's the appeal. It's the same whining. In this case, the New York Attorney General seeks to unwind and penalize complex, highly successful transactions between appellants and sophisticated Wall Street banks that left all parties deeply satisfied and had no impact on the public interest. Could we pause there? It has deep impact on the public interest. We have a public interest in stopping fraud. It is unfair for people like Donald Trump to get lending terms that other people can't get, that can get appraisals that other people can't get by lying. It is a fraud on the marketplace that affects all consumers, all residents of New York. And the fact that Donald Trump so cavalierly feels that he can just commit fraud over and over again and says that his conduct is in the public interest. Look, there's a reason he's a convicted felon. There's the reason that he's bankrupted company after company. Just enough of this crap over and over again. He goes on to say, this unauthorized, unprecedented power grab exceeds the New York Attorney General's statutory authority under Executive Law Section 6312. It violates centuries, of New York case law, holding that the New York Attorney General cannot sue to vindicate alleged violations that are purely private in nature and in this case do not exist at all. Supreme Court wrongly decided this case, even though it belonged in the commercial division where it would have been dismissed. I mean, there's like typos all over this. You're saying that it should have been in the commercial division. That was already ruled upon. Guess by who? The commercial division. They ruled that it was before Justice Engoron, who was handling the New York Attorney General investigation that turned into the civil case. And it says, having kept the case wrongfully, the trial judge has been overruled with alarming frequency. No, he hasn't. Including multiple times in this case. No, he hasn't. Most notably, the Supreme Court blatantly disrespected this court's prior order on the statute of limitations, refusing to adhere to that decision and barely mentioning its reasoning. That didn't take place either. The case against Ivanka was dismissed because she said she wasn't involved in the fraud. There was what's called a continuing fraud. The conduct by Donald Trump and his sons continued. What Trump's view of the statute of limitations is, count the statute of limitations from when the transaction took place, not when the fraud itself on the marketplace took place. So if the transaction took place 10 years ago, he's like, well, then you can't sue me for that. The question is, when did the fraud, when did the misconduct take place? If your theory of the statute of limitations was correct, then anybody can engage in a transaction, then just commit ongoing fraud, and then say, actually, the statute of limitations is when the transaction took place, so nothing you can do about me. And then Trump goes on to list his other reasons why he's appealing. He claims that there's no evidence to support the New York Attorney General's challenges. He goes, there's no victims and no losses. There are. It's a fraud on the marketplace. Fraud was committed. But here's where it gets so embarrassing. They go, Trump stands among the most visionary and iconic real estate developers in American history. As trial evidence highlighted, banks and lenders vied eagerly for his business. They acknowledged his unique vision and unparalleled expertise, and they recognized that dealing with him would deliver tremendous value. This isn't even this is like appeal. This is like some like puff piece, weird legal document. Look, I think Trump's going to ultimately lose this before the appellate division. But to me, the broader context of this is this current zeitgeist, this current moment. And I think why there's so much momentum around Vice President Kamala Harris. Former prosecutor who prosecuted business fraud, tax cheats, and people like this. Here's the speech that she gave at the Democratic headquarters yesterday. One of her first campaign speeches where she talks about, look, I went after people like this who are frauds, and I'm going to prosecute the case against them. Watch this. So, that's where we are. And all these legal filings by Trump and the whining and the playing the victim, it all just kind of, it feels accentuated now. It just feels so whiny. He looks like just such a small, whiny baby, not even meant for this political moment, this momentum, this movement for our democracy. Well, tell me what you think, but that's Donald Trump's appeal right there. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.